From Tally to Cali,
It's time
to wake up.
Wake up! Wake up!
Warchant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
And this is Wake Up Warchant, presented by Zaxby's
Now here's Warchant.com's Aslan Hajavandi
and Corey Clark.
Wake up! What up, everybody? It's Wake Up Warchant presented by Zaxby's. I'm Aslan. Corey's part of the show still. He's just not here right now, which is fine. We're going to do a big blowout show mañana. That's tomorrow for you folks. It'll be Renegade Express, as well as recapping everything going on with National Sign Day. But this show will be a sort of a preview. We're going to have Michael Langston on to talk about recruiting and what's going on. We also have the hardest working guy in Bristol, Connecticut at ACC Network, Dalen going to join us, wrap up the latest win for Florida State's basketball team over UNF. And I'm just going to read you a couple headlines to keep you updated with everything that's going on with Florida State sports. Of course, we're brought to you by Zaxby's, and I work for Warchant.com. So does Corey Clark. Use the promo code SAVE50FSU if you've never subscribed before, because that'll get you 50% off an annual membership to the ultimate Seminole sports source. We'll be doing live hits, myself and Michael Langston, on our YouTube channel. You should subscribe to it. It's free of charge. I think we're doing 9 a.m. and 10 a.m., which is a little bit worrisome to me because as I record this part of the show, it is 2:30 in the morning, and I'm pretty freaking tired. But, hey, I'm not complaining. I get to talk about Florida State sports. Shout out to Brandon, who I saw at the basketball game, as well as some young gentleman who saw me with a beer in my hand and said, "How are you going to do Wake Up Warchant when you have a beer in your hand?" I don't know. Here we are. Let's see how it all gogoes. But in case you were wondering what's going on with your football team, we spoke to a couple players on Tuesday afternoon. We spoke to Levante Taylor and Trey McKitty, as well as Janaris Robinson. I guess the only real headline or thing of note to come out of that meeting with the players was that Janaris Robinson plans on coming back for what I think would be his fifth year, his redshirt sophomore, or redshirt senior year rather. So Janaris is coming back. Cool thing. What I thought was a little bit interesting is that today, apparently, Levante Taylor's supposed to have a meeting with Mike Norvell. I mean, Levante's done. He's exhausted his eligibility. So let me ask you this, folks. Tweet at us, at Wake Up Warchant, or you can tweet at me, at Aslan Hodges. If you're Levante Taylor and you're being brought in on a meeting with Mike Norvell, and Levante's sort of thing was, I think he pretty much wants to talk to me to kind of see what's been going on here the last few years. If you're Levante Taylor and you're in Mike Norvell's office, again, tweet at the show at Wake Up Warchant or at Aslan Hodges. Do you just be good soldier and just say, yeah, it's been all good, just we've had some bad breaks and it just hasn't worked out? Or do you go complete like napalm and just lay everything out, all the things you've seen wrong? This coach did that. These players did this. Boom, boom, boom. Like the tutors didn't help. I mean, just everything. Do you just lay everything out there on your way out the door, or do you just sit there with your arms folded and just kind of say, man, life happens. Things going to work out here, but I'm sure you'll be okay. Interested to hear your thoughts on that. So we spoke to the players. Nothing really of great significance. They've kind of went ahead and reaffirmed what we've already heard, which is they've only spoke to Mike Norvell once for about 15 minutes each, it sounds like. But, again, Mike Norvell's, I think Trey McKitty also said he's got a meeting coming up here with Mike Norvell in the coming days, maybe even today as you're listening to this. Heck, as I'm recording it, it's 2:30 in the morning. It is Wednesday. So, seems like Norvell, now that recruiting is going to be kind of in the rear view after today, he's going to probably start, touching base with the current players and getting their thoughts on things. So, that'll be maybe something that we can talk later on in the week when we get the players one more time. We're also going to get assistant coaches. We don't know if that's going to be current assistant coaches or maybe other coaches brought into the fold. Florida State still does not have an offensive line coach. Randy Clements on Monday was officially announced on social media via Ole Miss's football feed as their offensive line coach. So Florida State, Randy Clements, thank you for your service. Good night, sweet prince. No longer with the program. Jake Reed, a graduate assistant who was here with Greg Fry last year, was the young man, coach, whatever you want to call him, that we saw with the offensive line on Sunday when Sun Bowl preparation began. So they do have a coach, just, at least a coach in title. Maybe it wasn't the actual offensive line coach, clearly, since that was Randy Clements' job. Kendall Brow still with the program as far as we know. There were some rumblings on social media that he had interviewed with Arkansas. Arkansas also apparently has been interviewing Major Applewhite in addition to a couple other folks. So who knows? Sam Pittman, new head football coach at Arkansas, offensive line pedigree. Would he want a guy like Kendall Browse that seems a little bit more wide open, less reliance on the run? Who knows? We'll find these things out soon enough. One sort of maybe good news that's developed that comes in terms of the bowl game that's going to be played on December 31st, 2 p.m., Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl, El Paso, Texas. Irish O'Fell, our guy, myself will be out there covering it, is that Arizona State's defensive coordinator, Danny Gonzalez, has accepted a job at New Mexico, replacing Bob Davie. Question now is, does Gonzalez stay on with the Sun Devils in bowl prep, or will he go ahead and leave for the Lobos in New Mexico? Herm Edwards hasn't made any comment on it. I don't know his next media availability. We think it's probably going to be later today as well, since they're going to have signing day, and we'll see whether or not Gonzalez plans to stay on with the Sun Devils through the bowl game. I wouldn't think so, but again, we'll get some clarification. And if he does leave, that surely could help Florida State, because the defensive coordinator leaving would probably throw some of the plans up in the air for the Sun Devils. And I know a lot of folks don't care about the result of this game. I think Corey doesn't really care all that much. I think there's a lot of bearing, obviously, on the future of Florida State football, on how they do in a game in El Paso, Texas, against Arizona State. But surely it would be nice just to win a game one more time. You know, it's the last game you're going to get until September or August, whenever the kickoff classic against West Virginia is. And boy, any sort of positive momentum would be a good thing for Florida State. And again, we always project what the record's going to be before the season. 8-5, we'll be happy. 9-3, you'll be happy. But then you lose the games and you realize how bad it sucks. And it would suck to lose against Arizona State. Probably bracing for that to happen, but any sort of break to help Florida State would be a positive development. So we'll see if Danny Gonzalez does indeed leave Arizona State, maybe in the lurch, and that helps sort of things with Florida State in terms of trying to squeak out a seventh win to the season. Otherwise, the only other thing that really dropped on Tuesday was that the spring game has also been announced. The spring football game, the Garnet and Gold game, will be April 18th. We don't know, or at least I don't know, who's going to play the Doak After Dark concert. So that'll keep us on pins and needles. But it will be April 18th is the spring game. 5 p.m. is the kickoff. Come to town. Lawyer Joe, that's my lawyer. His name is Joe. He's supposed to be coming in town, so it will be a fun effort. All right, I've spoke for about 7 minutes, which is probably 7 minutes more than you wanted on your Wednesday. But hey, such is the life that I live and the hand that you were all dealt. Live hits coming up on our YouTube channel. Subscribe to it, I think at 10 a.m. as well as 1 p.m. And then we'll speak to Norvell at 4:30 p.m. Everything will be up on YouTube. Everything will be on warchant.com. Ira will probably have a story. Corey will probably have a story as well. And with that, let's focus on recruiting. Let's go ahead and bring Michael Langston into the program. As advertised here on Wake Up Warchant presented by Zaxby's, let's go ahead and give you a little bit of a primer for the early signing day that does loom here on Wednesday morning. Got Michael Langston from warchant.com, our recruiting analyst. Michael, I know you keep hearing from me, and boy, you're sick of me, I bet. But hey, let's do this. How excited are you for signing day, early signing day?
I'm very excited. I'm ready to wrap this sucker up.
Just oozing with enthusiasm. All right, we've discussed, obviously, everybody knows Florida State struggles here recently with signing prep quarterbacks. I think you expect that drought will end on Wednesday. Florida State should sign at least one. The question, I guess, is how many quarterbacks they'll sign from the high school ranks, correct?
Yeah, it should be interesting. Everyone wants to know, it's like, where's Chuba going? Where's Chuba going? It's like, and I would love to give people information, but they have gone dark and they are being quiet, and so we really do not know, anything right now as far as updating his situation as far as Chuba. But I definitely feel really confident that they're going to sign at least one quarterback in this class, of Tate Runmaker, and a very good one at that. So could be two, but for now, I'm banging the phones. I'm trying to find out anything I can find out to see where this thing stands.
What does your instinct say, Michael? Like when a family does go dark, or they've been committed. I mean, for me, I don't want to put the clues together, but I mean, it just sounds like if they've been committed to Louisville for a long time and they make this last-second visit to Florida State, their daughter goes to school in state, and they're not talking to anybody. don't know, for me, it seems like maybe there's some smoke, or at least that seems a little bit encouraging for Florida State, because, I mean, if he was going to just come out and say it, he probably doesn't want to get everybody all upset on the Louisville side, so maybe this is the way you go about doing it.
Maybe, and you could be right. I mean, I've seen situations where, where it happens like that. And the one thing we've known about the Purder family is they have made sure that they're going to make sure they discuss everything, go in detail about it, not rush into it, not make a decision. But I don't disagree with you that, when you go quiet like that, it kind of gives off the signs that, hey, maybe it is possible good news for FSU. But I don't want to say, one way or the other, because I don't know. I mean, I've seen both instances where it works out, where sometimes they just want to cover all the details and the pros and cons and really just bang it out as a family and figure out what the best place is. And then other times it's just as you suggested, where they know FSU is where they need to be, or where he needs to be, and then they end up going to that school. So definitely I wouldn't feel good, just in that sense, just what the quietness, what's going on in Louisville. But like I said, we'll just have to, I guess, wait and see tomorrow.
Running back wise, I guess there's some guys that might not sign today on Wednesday as we record this for you folks on Tuesday evening, so you enjoy it on your Wednesday morning. But there should be, obviously some guys are currently involved with Lawrence Toafili. He's a guy who we expect to sign on Wednesday.
Right.
Is Florida State going to be done at the running back position on Wednesday, or will this just be kind of the start of the restock?
Oh, no, they will not be done. They will just be getting started, and I think they want to sign at least 3 running backs in this class. They might even go for 4, if they can get it, because basically you have to treat the cupboard like it's bare, because you don't know who's going to be the starter next year and who's going to be there. And we know Anthony Grant's supposedly coming back, tweeted he's coming back, and then Laybourne, but he's been in trouble. So who knows if he decides to, if he keeps doing things like that to get himself in trouble or stuff like that. So there's a lot of uncertainty as far as what you have. So you have to treat it like there's nobody there. So, I think they certainly want to sign 3 running backs. If they're 3 solid ones that, they feel can come in there and take care of the load, then maybe they stop at 3. But wouldn't surprise me if they got an all-purpose back or something like that for the 4th. But if they decided they wanted to add a 4th, but I think they definitely would like to get 3 backs.
How about who they're going to run behind? That's kind of an important thing, I guess, right? A lot of Florida State fans want to know what's going on with the offensive line. I think a lot of Florida State fans are expecting some huge number, right? Like they're going to go and get 8 offensive linemen. I don't know how reasonable that is. But from what we've been talked about, you and I, in terms of doing some of the Skype video stuff that's on warchant.com, is that strangely enough, the interior is somewhat in good shape, but it sounds the main focus is going to be to get some tackles. And I mean, if Alex Adakevich is if there's not room for him, then what do you think the plan is at offensive tackle?
Well, it could be that maybe they got some good news on the tackle that it might be a surprise tomorrow, or they got some good news of the guy that's going to sign in February or something like that. But I think the bottom line is, they need tackles, and they need at Cavich's spot to make sure they get everything they need on the tackle position. I mean, they just do. I'm not even going to put a number because I have no idea how many they're going to take, but they're going to take as many as it has to take to get their problems fixed. And they've got to get this offensive line recruiting back on level ground. And the only way you do that is you kind of flip the roster a little bit and just do something to change, get some grad transfers, possibly get some JUCO guys, but you're going to have to go in there and change what that tackle position looks like, because right now it is scary how thin they are at tackle.
I know you dropped the nugget on the premium recruiting board on warchant.com on Tuesday evening about the wide receiver position. Don't want you to spill it, but elsewhere when it comes to wide receiver targets, Brian Robinson continues to be a guy that they're heavily involved with, and he's going to make his decision on Wednesday, right?
Right. Yes, he will decide Wednesday at 1 p.m. We have all the times on there. I think there's maybe one or two that we don't have yet, but I think we should have it. Of course, not shockingly, Chubba Purdy is one of those that we don't have a time for. But, yeah, Brian's going to announce at 1 p.m. They're after another wide receiver target, and you can go to Warchant. You can figure out who they are, and I think there's a good possibility he could end up in this class. I won't say who he is because don't want to burn our subscribers, but he's a guy that I talked about often of FSU being hard on as far as, being active with, and he's a guy that's already officially visited FSU. So certainly somebody that, Coach Ron Dugans is very familiar with, likes him a lot, and we've mentioned him quite often throughout the year and even the last few weeks. And he's even a guy I mentioned on the board today, early this afternoon, that I'm going to be monitoring him because I thought something was kind of developing there. But people can go on the site and see it. But so there'll be we put 7 predictions up. I think it's working now where everyone can see the predictions. So they're all in there. As far as offensive lineman, the one offensive lineman we have in there, Tobias Braun, we do not know so far if he's actually going to sign or not. So he's one that I'm kind of waiting on. It's basically, from what I hear, looks like Ole Miss or FSU, but he hasn't not responded to me as far as if he's signing tomorrow. So could be a chance that he does not decide till the later signing period. But I think the rest of those guys, if you can go on there and read it, those are our predictions right now. And certainly it could change. I mean, I could go in there and change it anytime. So just keep posted there because this stuff can move fast. And, I'm working the phone, so I'm just seeing whatever I can dig up.
Ron Dugan staying on staff, was that a plus in terms of trying to land Brian Robinson?
I think it was a big plus. I mean, having him, I think if you don't have him on that staff, I don't think you pull him. I think it even as good as Norvell is and as good as Dillingham is, you can't make up for close relationships. And it's important on the visits too. When you follow, everyone says follow the visits, but I say the visits are important, but I think it's more important is you follow the relationships. To me, I mean, I think that's the big thing. You look at a lot of these kids and a lot of the ones they land. I mean, kids got to have relationships with somebody to have a chance to pull it off. And I think FSU certainly has that with Dugans, and certainly there's a good shot. I haven't heard anything that would change my mind with Brian. So, I would think that FSU still sits in the, positive spot. And my forecast is still for FSU. It's been there, so that's not a secret. But certainly I'll monitor it all night and into the morning and see if anything's changed, and we'll kind of go from there.
And then defensively, probably no more important position than the defensive line, and I guess maybe even more specific to that is defensive end. Morven Joseph, as well as Josh Griffiths, remain 2 targets that Florida State's highly involved with. I think Griffiths is 11:30 a.m. It'll be streaming online, and then Morven Joseph is around 4 p.m. How big would it be to get those 2 guys, and would that be enough? Is there more to be had at that position?
No, they need more because Morven's more of a pure pass rusher, so he would be big. That would help you. Okay, you got 1, but you probably need 2 or 3 in there that are just pure pass rushers like Morven is. And then, so I think later signing period, they're still going to go after guys to get that finalized. Man, if you could get 3 just solid, edge rushers, that pass rushers that get after the quarterback, I think that would be big. Now with Josh is more of a buck linebacker type where he can do a lot of different things. Pretty good pass rusher. He's got a motor that doesn't quit. He can get after it. He's not as pure and natural as what Morven is as far as getting after the quarterback. So they'll have to tweak to see where they fit him into this, this defense. But I think both of them are equally important though. I think you want both of them. Both of them are going to bring a lot to your team. It's just there's going to be more questions about where and how you use Josh Griffiths compared to Morven. Morven's pretty cut and dry. Edge rusher, get after the quarterback, dude. And that's the most important thing they need is those edge rushers because they are severely lacking that. Certainly got some really good news with Janarius Robinson announcing he's coming back. That's big for him. certainly for the future, just having somebody. But I think both of those guys are key. But so is just defensive line recruiting in general. The positions I was told, just today that were biggest were, running back, offensive line, and defensive end. Those are big places that FSU wants to make a splash at.
And last thing for me, Michael, is that, when Willie Taggart showed up, he had a really quick turnaround to try to get this early recruiting period sort of salvaged. Mike Norvell's in the same position, but it seems like Willie did most of his damage on this early signing day and then added a few more guys in February. In
Right.
talking to you here the last few days, it seems like February is also going to have a pretty big importance, and there should be some big fish out there that they're going to add moving forward. So this is nowhere near the end all be all that it was back in 2017. It seems like, or am I mistaken?
No, you're not mistaken. I mean, because you're talking about say you sign which I think they're going to sign every guy that's committed to them right now. I think currently every one of them will sign tomorrow. I think on Wednesday. I think that will happen. That's good news. I think it's 13 or 14 what they have right now. So you sign all those guys, and then you add say you add like 5, that gets you up to like 18 or 19. So if you do that, if you somehow can pull 5, that puts you at I think 18. So then you're looking at the numbers of 27 to 29 of how many you're going to take. Okay, that makes it much more attainable. But there's going to be much more action. They know. Like I said, the focus is going to be hard on in later signing period on that offensive line, on that defensive, those defensive ends, and certainly the running back position. Those are going to be places that FSU is going to hit it hard, and whoever's left, they're going to go with everything they have to get those guys. And basically, we'll have 3 full weekends of hosting kids, so they'll have plenty of time to get that done with whoever's left and whoever they can convince to wait and not sign. So I think that's kind of where they're at as far as that stuff. But, yeah, it's going to be much more active because you got these guys that are committed. We kind of forget about them, but that stuff's important too. But it's going to be a lot of activity. I think it's going to be equal activity from what you see tomorrow compared to just what you see in February. So I think both periods are going to be pretty active for FSU.
Good news, Michael. You only have to talk to me one more time, and then you won't have to talk to me till next year. So, but we'll have to catch up tomorrow once the dust settles and let everybody know how this recruiting class shook up. I mean, I appreciate all your time this week, Michael. It's been awesome, man. Thank you.
You got it.
At Birch Orthodontics, they know what a difference a beautiful and healthy smile can make in your life.
They take the time to get to know you and perform a thorough exam so that they can make an individualized treatment plan just for you or your child.
They use the latest technology in a warm and comfortable environment. So whether you are interested in traditional metal or clear braces or clear aligners, they can give you the smile you deserve. They know investing in your smile means investing in your future. And at Birch Orthodontics, they are honored to be a part of your smile journey.
Serving Tallahassee for 16 years and supporting the Noles since forever. Check them out at birchorthodontics.com. BURCH orthodontics.com. So there you have it, a little bit of a preview. We didn't want to give everything away. Michael didn't want to give everything away to upset our subscribers, which we get it. We got to tease a little bit of stuff, but also let people know what's going on. A lot of subscribers listen to the show. They probably don't read every single thread, so we got to keep you updated and walk that sort of fine line. Also, switching gears now, Florida State. Corey Clark was busy working the game at the Civic Center on Tuesday night. Florida State 98-81 winners over North Florida. They were 21-point favorites, but hey, who cares unless you actually had money on the game. Florida State shot 57% from the field. UNF knocked down 13 three-pointers, but it was just wasn't enough, man. Florida State just kind of showed just how good of a team they are, despite the fact that this offense continues to kind of grow and find maybe a rhythm and identity. Who knows exactly what they're going to become, but 98 points, nothing to sneeze at. They'll be back in action, I think, next Saturday against Georgia Tech. So that'll be a fun one. Dalen Cuff is actually going to be on the call for that one as well. Dalen Cuff works for ACC Network. He's my friend. He was on the call for the game last night, and we spoke to him afterwards, and here's what he thought about the game. Welcome back. It's Wake Up Warchant. It's presented by Zaxby, special edition of the program. We've been all over the place. Midtown offices, now we're here overlooking downtown Tallahassee. We got a friend of the program, Dalen Cuff, joining us here on the show from ACC Network. Dalen, how are you, friend?
I'm better than normally. Normally I'm talking to you, I feel like I'm in my house or at ESPN.
Right.
Now I've got my feet up in the hotel room here, maybe a beverage in my hand. Things are great.
Hey, so it's going to be National Sign Day as we play this podcast for everybody. Do you have a cool podcast or a podcast? You have a cool signing day story? You went to Columbia, South Carolina, University of South Carolina, right?
I did?
Oh, different. Oh,
different, yeah.
Columbia University.
Slightly different.
A little bit different. What was signing day like for you?
So the Ivy League, we always have to do things differently. So I'll keep this short because I don't think anybody cares about this. But you have to get your matriculation letter. And once you're like, the thing is you have to be approved. You have to be accepted into school. So you have to go through the regular application process. Long story short, I got in because I can shoot the ball, and they were my grades were fine. But I wouldn't have got in on my own. So I get in, and then they have to sign your matriculation papers or whatever it is. That's like acts as your letter of intent because there is no athletic scholarships in the Ivy League. Right. So you don't have a national letter of intent. You have your matriculation stuff, and that once that's signed, you're in.
You're a proud East Lake Eagle. Like, did you have like a cake and balloons and like something at the gym? Or did your parents there like around you?
I remember. I don't remember anything like that. I think I came back from my recruiting. I came back from my official visit to Columbia. I'm sure nobody in their administration is listening to this, but I sent my application and I was approved in 24 hours. So let's just say that happened real fast, and that's not normal. But my dad came and there was some like poster in my car when went out to leave school that said like "Hail Columbia" or something. So I guess that was meant in his mind. It's official. I got into school, so he basically felt like his work has been done. It was 18 years, well produced by him to get a kid into that school, which I didn't even know what it was. 6 months prior, didn't know it existed, and he was pretty excited about it.
Proud Lion, man. Way to go, man.
Thanks, dude.
All right, so you were on the call last night for the UNF Florida State game. Florida State didn't cover. It's fine, though. You don't care about that. Just
actually, what was the line? I wondered.
21 points.
Okay.
And it was crazy. I was talking to Mercedes Mike, who's also in town with us, friend of the program, watching the game with us.
He's got a moniker, Mercedes Mike, like Stanford Steve?
I love it.
Maybe
I should call him Jersey Mike.
I don't think I don't
know if he would appreciate that.
I don't know exactly. Mercedes Mike sounds way more high class. It's way more his speed as he eats GIF power-ups next to us right now.
So we're watching the game, and they're putting the stats up, obviously, on the big screen or the Jumbotron and stuff. And there was a point there where I think Florida State was like 2 of 8 from 3, and UNF was 10 of 22. And I was telling him, I'm like, if you would been told that Florida State's getting outshot from 3 like to this degree against a team that does nothing but shoot up 3-pointers, you'd think they were losing. He's like, absolutely, but the game was never sort of it was never in doubt. So how much can you glean from a game in December before the holiday season? Everybody's probably ready to go home, see their ex-girlfriend at their favorite bar back home and stuff. Like, how much can you glean from a game like this if you're looking at Florida State in terms of just how much they've grown since that Pitt game?
I mean, it's less about the result on the court with them. It's more about how they played. And in talking to Coach Ham today, we spent an hour and a half talking with him at shoot-around, and he kept talking about the little things. They got to do the little things. They have to tighten up. They have to be more mature. He said the word right now, they're sputtering as a team just because they're just beginning to scratch the surface. He knows they can take it to a different level. And you saw that in the first half, actually. Guys, they were trying not to help. That's part of the game plan is don't help off anybody, switch every screen, and run them off the three-point line. There were the first 3 they hit. Forrest got confused, didn't make the switch. They knocked down a 3. There was things where Anthony Polite one time overhelped, didn't need to help. There was, Koprivica, and the pronunciation was fine on the game, but now I think 2 sips of that, and my brain just went to kaput. MJ Walker had a miscommunication. There were a bunch of those in the first half. So those little things in a game against UNF, they don't end up hurting you. When you play Louisville in 3 weeks, that really hurts you. So what you learn is. And they didn't do that in the second half. So that's where you take away. They internalized it. They understood it. They made the corrections. They made sure they got it right in the second half. And I believe UNF shot about 20% from the three-point line in the second half. That's how you win the game. So that's what you think you take away is, are they learning? Are they executing what Coach Ham is asking them to do? They did a better job of it in the second half. Overall, I thought that was the first time I saw Pat Williams live. That dude is he's really a good player. Like, he made a number of passes. There was one on flex cut. One time he fed Olenicuk down low. Olenicuk missed the bunny, but the way he delivers the ball, he's a very good passer. He sees the court well. His body's already got an NBA body. He can knock down the 3. He doesn't get sped up. He is a high level player that he'll be in the NBA next year if he wants to, or the year after that. Whenever he wants to go, he will be a first-round draft pick whenever he chooses to do that.
Don't rush him off.
I'm not, but I'm just telling you, that kid was really impressive in person. And I'm excited what this team can be. I think it's them, Louisville, and Duke competing for an ACC title. And I think them and Duke have a higher ceiling. They have, I think, more to figure out and more to work on. You might have a higher ceiling, but they got a longer way to go. Louisville's a little ahead of them right now, but Louisville may be a little bit limited, especially with their guard play. I'm not sure how much better that's going to get, and that could be a problem.
Isn't it crazy that you're talking about Florida State along the lines of Duke and Louisville after they lost, I don't know, they had 6 seniors or whatever they had last season, then they lost 3 guys to the association. I mean, just growing up and what Florida State's been and what Lander Hamilton's been able to do is just crazy that Florida State is at this point where they're sputtering, quote unquote, as a program, but they're ranked 19th in the nation right now, and
that shows. I said that on the broadcast. That shows how far they've come. That he's saying they're sputtering right now as a team to figure it out, but that's based on his expectations now, which they are one of 7 teams to make it to the Sweet 16 in the last 2 years. One of those was Elite 8, obviously, appearance, but that's along with Duke, Michigan, Kentucky, Gonzaga, Texas Tech. I mean, outside of Texas Tech, those 4 teams I just mentioned, that's blue bloods right there. You're right there with him. So what he's built is outstanding, but I think he understands too. We're building to a new expectation. We want to compete for a title. That's one thing, how far this program's progressed. As it relates to the rest of the ACC, the conference in terms of its heavy hitters aren't as good. So when they lose those 6 guys, everybody else lost tons of talent too. UVA lost all the guys that helped them win the national championship. UNC lost 80% of their scoring, 75% of their rebounding. So those things were all gone. Duke, obviously, they lost what they lost, but they reloaded. So the top of the league has come down a little bit, whereas his program maintains a very high level. He brings in new guys. He has his system. He has the way they want to play. They have a great culture. They totally are bought in. It's a very family atmosphere, and they play completely selflessly. Like, there's no dude out there for themselves. And you see that amount of minutes they play, how much Koprivica dove on a ball with 8 minutes to go. Everybody's up off the bench. That's the play that coach is going to be most happy about, that he made all game. He had a career high tonight. But that doesn't matter compared to what that type of effort he's expending, that type of awareness, be first to the floor as a freshman. That's the type of stuff that's going to win you a game in, at Georgia Tech in the middle of February, at Notre Dame in the middle of February. Those type of plays are what help you win as a program in really tough environments when it matters in ACC play.
The growth they have to do to hit their ceiling, all that work is kind of ahead of them. But, I mean, when I see them, I just see so many good pieces, but I feel like they're trying to still figure it out offensively. Corey's mentioned on the show so many times that at certain points it's felt like this team's going to have to be that junkyard defense again and just rely on that, win ugly games in the 60s. I mean, is that maybe the blueprint going forward when conference season rolls around, or do you see enough from guys like Patrick Williams and Trent Forrest that come February this could be a team that they're not going to be as fun and gun or as wide open as they were last year with guys like Terrence Mann and Cabin Gelly, but that they can get back somewhere close to that, or will it be a defensive-heavy team? Yeah,
I don't think they're going to be fully reliant on just being junkyard dogs and winning ugly. I don't think that's the case. I think their identity is always going to be their defense. They're going to be pressuring you from the half court, and sometimes today that's what changed the game too. Go in the full court, change the flow of the game. He's got different things at disposal. They can go small, but their defense is always going to be their identity. They'll be top 10 in defensive efficiency. They are now. They'll probably stay there. Maybe they go to top 15. Either way, they'll be elite in that statistic. They'll be elite in turning teams over, and that'll be what they're built on. But to your point, he's still looking for them. They need kind of an alpha, though. They need a guy that when you need somebody to go make a play, you need somebody that when it isn't.
So Mercedes Mike said he's nodding his head. They don't have that one guy, just that quote stud. But it's never been that way. It's been
But sometimes it's not just about
strong.
A stud. It's sometimes if he can go get you a basket. But sometimes also it's that guy that's going to bring you together when it's tough on the road and be like, yo, we got to go get a stop right now. We have to get 5 stops because we're not going and scoring down there. It's the guy that's going to kind of. That can pull everybody together, clunk some heads together if you need to at times. They're kind of lacking that one guy to emerge as the mother. I mean, that would be the.
How about the father?
Well, I was the mother. He needed a mother. Can I curse in this thing?
Sure, why not? Well,
you need a mother. Like that's what that's the term when you say to a coach. Like we need a mother. Like okay. That's what they need right now. They need that kind of guy.
All right.
And now they're trying to figure that guy may emerge. They've got little. You'll see flashes here and there, but sometimes you need that dude. And they had a couple of those dudes on last year's team. So it's a little different. So they're still trying to figure that out, but they got a long way to go, and I think they have a lot of growth to do as a team. Offensively, I think they will improve too. I think they have guys that can shoot. You watch shoot around when the lights aren't on. Dudes are making a lot of shots. When the lights are on, you got to make threes too. They did it against Clemson in the second half. If they can, consistently make some shots, that does help and change their offense as well.
I can't believe you cursed on the podcast. That's great, man. I really like that.
Are you going to bleep that, or what? You look so concerned. I mean,
I had to make sure I looked at the time that you go back and look at the time.
Can't you get the little explicit tag or something like that? Just throw that. Give me a little NWA type thing going on.
We're a family program. We're family. We're about the kids.
Okay. My bad. Sorry, everybody.
Just kind of last thing. I mean,
House is also a listener too. Casa
really?
was texting me left and right during the game. By the way, he had another kid. People are like, who cares about that? Well, our friend.
What is that? His third one?
Fourth.
Fourth?
3 boys and a girl, man. He's got a team.
First time I hung out with him was spring break, like senior year of high school. And I got him back home like 30 minutes after curfew, and I was never allowed to hang out with him again.
his mom did not play, by the way.
No, she didn't, man.
Mrs. Russo did not mess around.
But then when we got to Florida State, we got back loose again.
Yeah, got back in the mix.
I saw him at the airport, I think, before Florida State won the national title, and he had that. And I always talk about the program about how much I want to be a father someday. Mm-hmm. But he had it was like around the national title game, so it was like New Year's Day. And like he had the child seat in one hand and like a crying baby in the other. His wife was like walking with a toddler, and he just had that defeated look on his face. And I'm like, Brian? He's like, hey man. And I'm like, just give me a hug, man.
Was he wearing a cast too, or is that just old school? Because he had the perpetually broken hand, just boxer fracture.
He had the calcium. But going to the season, it felt like this would be kind of Trent Forrest's team if you want to talk about that alpha guy, that MFer. But, like, to me, I think, like, Devin Vassell, could 24, do you think Devin Vassell might be maybe not the intangible vocal kind of guy, but he seems like the guy that can man up and get you a stop on the defensive side or spearhead something like that. And then offensively, he seems so much more dynamic and at least willing to take jumpers than Trent. Yeah.
I mean, it should be Trent's team. And I think he's working his way there. We talked today. He did say it's a big difference stepping up because last year you have Phil there, you have Terrence, and he understood what they went through. And when you're a captain and he's one of 2 seniors and you got all young guys and I had the same experience, like everything falls back to you. The coach is asking you to do a lot in terms of leading guys on and off the court. And when you're not that guy, you don't understand what those guys are doing, how much they're talking to so-and-so or dealing with so-and-so, or is this guy okay, or picking him up or making sure he's still okay. There's like all this other stuff that goes on away from it that now he's doing. And he's like, wow, there's just a lot of stuff I didn't realize. Like I saw some of it and I did some of it, but I didn't know it was all this because a lot of it falls on him. So he's got I think it should be his team, but he's still trying to figure it out. I mean, it's not naturally in his personality to go out there and do it. Now, he's the kind of guy that I think will lead by example and show you how to do it. And Devin's the same way. I think Devin's personality, though, is not – he's a really smiley, positive, happy, energetic player. He may not be the guy at this point, but at the same time, you can still develop. He will be a guy who can go get you a basket on the other side, though. He's really smart with his shot fakes. He gets in the lane really well. He's got a number of little floaters, and obviously can knock down a three. So he's a very talented player he's just going to keep getting better, too, through the course of the year.
You got 5:45 flight, right? Let's wake up.
5:40 a.m., baby. We're just going all night, right? I mean, these places are open till like 3 a.m. Just go right to the airport at 4 a.m.
County, that's how we roll, man.
That's the deal.
First class. All right, man. Appreciate your time. Dalen Cuff,
Anytime.
ACC Network, man.
Let's do it.
Thanks again to Dalen Cuff. Hopefully he made his flight at 5:45 in the morning out of Tallahassee Airport. I think he's got TSA pre-check, so he should be okay. Thanks to Michael Langston, he's had to talk to me way too much. Thanks to you folks for listening and having to listen to me for way too much, especially on today. But go ahead, post your questions on the Tribal Council. Corey will be back, I promise, tomorrow for the Renegade Express. We'll also speak some recruiting, naturally. Maybe we'll bring Michael Langston back in. We probably will have to. And maybe we'll play a soundbite or two from Mike Norvell. But everything from the press conference from Mike Norvell on signing day will be up on our YouTube channel, and everything will be on warchant.com. And we'll see where this recruiting class lands on the early signing period as it starts today. So with that said, thanks for listening, everybody, to Wake Up Warchant presented by Zaxby's. I will catch up with you tomorrow, but even more importantly, Corey Clark, triumphant return. We can't wait.
If you want an adventure, you could climb a mountain or ride dune buggies through the desert. Or you could just head to your neighborhood Zaxby's. Introducing the Smokehouse Cheddar Barbecue and Southwest Chipotle Filet Sandwich Meals. They're brand new and they'll take your taste buds to wild and exciting new places. Both feature our famous hand-breaded chicken, and they're both available for a limited time. Only at your neighborhood Zaxby's. And don't miss Jumanji: The Next Level, only in theaters.